No one's manipulating anything. Britain's finally decided to investigate grooming gangs again.
The inquiry is not and will never be watered down. Its scope will not change. It will examine the ethnicity and religion of the offenders, and we will find the right person to chair the inquiry.
Because apparently the last 10 times didn't quite drive home the point that children were being...
Wait, what are you... Wait, hey, get out of here! Hey!
While the state takes notes. But don't get too excited, because in classic Westminster style, before a single chair has been sat on, before a single statement has been read, the whole thing's already falling into a shit show.
Use the surge of fear and adrenaline to sharpen your decision-making.
The fire's shooting at us!
And it's falling apart faster than a Tory manifesto after polling day.
It's just, it's been such a tough year for so many people.
So let's get this right. This so-called national inquiry into grooming gangs, the one that was supposed to expose how many thousands of young girls were systematically abused across this country for decades, is already collapsing before it's even started. We're not talking about a few bad headlines. We're talking about a scandal bigger than Rotherham, where at least 1,400 children were abused between 1997 and 2013. Then Rochdale, Oxford, Huddersfield, Oldham, Newcastle, hundreds more each. Put the known cases together and the number of identified victims across England easily topped 7,000 children. And these weren't rich kids from private schools. These were mostly working class girls.
We're very working class.
Be honest.
I am being honest.
Ignored, written off, branded troublemakers by the very authorities that were meant to protect them. And now, what's the government's big move? They've managed to lose half the advisory panel before the first meeting even finished. 4 survivors have quit. 2 potential chairs have already run for the hills. And the minister in charge, Jess Phillips, the one who swore should stand up for the victims, is taking more heat than a little barbecue in July.
We're 9 months? I could have had a baby in the time it's taken the apology to come.
Even the Financial Times, not GB News, the Financial Times, reported that the shortlist for the chair was basically a who's who of people who probably should never go anywhere near this. We're talking senior police chief and a social work director, the exact same institutions that failed to stop the abuse in the first place. Yes, let's get the people who missed the warning signs to lead the investigation in the first place to lead the investigation of why they missed the warning signs. It's a bit like asking Matt Hancock to chair an inquiry into incompetence, or putting Prince Andrew in charge of youth outreach.
I don't sweat. Or I didn't sweat at the time.
This isn't nitpicking, this is the pattern. Every time the establishment is caught out, they build a committee to investigate themselves and then act shocked when no one trusts them. We've had 20 years of reports, task forces, reviews and solemn-faced apologies, and still, according to the Home Office's own data, only 15% of grooming gang cases ever lead to prosecution, and that's an 85% failure rate for crimes that ruin lives. So forgive me if I'm not breaking out the confetti for this new national inquiry, if this is even what accountability looks like. The survivors, actual victims of grooming gangs, are begging for the inquiry to stay focused. They said it's about grooming gangs. Don't water it down. Don't hide it behind vague language like child sexual exploitation in all of its forms, because when you broaden the scope to everything, what happens? You end up with fuck all. But apparently during one of their consultation meetings, civil servants asked, if we can't fix it, let's redefine it. It's like saying, should the Titanic investigation focus on the iceberg, or maybe just water in general?
The conversation with Oldham is, do we not think it might be better for them just to take part in a statutory inquiry? That it is absolutely nothing to do with the idea that Oldham is telling me what to do. And the more people from that side, he can hold up his paper and have a smug face all he likes, but the fact of the matter is that there is absolutely no council in this country who will tell this inquiry where it can and cannot go.
There's also the small issue of who gets to run the inquiry. Some survivors want a judge completely independent outside the UK if possible, and others say no to judges because the courts failed them too. We are auditioning the entire public sector for the most trusted failure 2025, and ministers wonder why survivors don't trust them. Maybe, just maybe, because when survivors speak up, they're told they are misinformed, and then the minister who contradicted them gets defended by Downing Street. It's a bit like being gaslit by the people who installed the lights. Keir, you've been in power for 5 minutes and already discovered that reality might offend somebody. So naturally the safest option is to just pretend not to see it. Meanwhile, Jess Phillips, the safeguarding minister, is texting survivors telling them, no one's manipulating anything. And the survivors reply, it's being manipulated. That's not a discussion. That is a WhatsApp version of gaslighting. Now, if this government were any more tone deaf, it would be headlining Glastonbury. They've had the police ignore them, councils silence them, and now they're being told to sign confidentiality agreements again so they don't damage the process. Let's be clear, these people have lived through hell. They've had the police ignore them, councils silence them, and now they're being told to sign confidentiality agreements again so they don't damage the process. Oh, I'm sorry, is the truth going to damage the inquiry? Maybe we should protect the institution's feelings while we're at it. Here's the part that nobody in Whitehall will admit. This inquiry risks becoming the next layer of the cover-up. When you pack a truth-seeking commission with people whose jobs depend on keeping the truth vague, you're not investigating the system, you're reinforcing it. Do you remember the independent inquiry into child sex abuse? 4 different chairs, years of drama, and by the end of it, nobody could remember what it was supposed to achieve. We're heading the same way again, except this time, the survivors saw it coming and went, fuck off, we're not doing this, before it even began.
Abandoned ship! Abandoned ship! Abandoned ship!
And how did Westminster respond? By arguing about the wording of the inquiry title. Brilliant. Britain's burning, and the civil service is arguing about font size. I have a solution. Appoint a judge from outside the UK, someone with no friends in British policing or civil service. Keep the focus narrow. Grooming gangs. Not child welfare in general. Grooming gangs. Give the survivors the microphone. Let them tell the world what they've been through, not a non-disclosure agreement, and publish every fucking thing.
No fighting. No fucking fighting. No fighting. No fucking fighting!
No redactions, no secrecy clauses, no national security excuses, and if we can publish MPs' expenses down to the penny and how they avoid them, we can publish why councils ignored child abuse for decades. Because here's the truth. When governments lose control of the narrative, they panic, and when survivors start leading it, they panic even fucking more. The inquiry was supposed to be about justice, but it's turned into a PR nightmare for the people running it, and that tells you everything you need to know. The establishment doesn't fear failure, they fear exposure. And it makes you think, what's next? Jess Phillips will probably keep her job. At the time of recording this, she still does have her job. Maybe a fresh independent chair. Maybe Jess Phillips will clarify her remarks again. Meanwhile, survivors out there will keep on shouting out into the void, hoping somebody in power actually listens. Unfortunately for them, Keir Starmer is Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Until then, Britain's national inquiry into grooming gangs looks less like a pursuit of justice and more like an episode of Yes, Minister.
Yes, Prime Minister.
Because if justice isn't found here, where children were failed so catastrophically, then honestly, what the fuck is the point? But don't worry, because the government says everything's fine. And if you don't believe what the government say, well, you're probably misinformed. I've been Jake from Just Jake. See you next time.